This week's scenario is the Pit from the Steamroller 2016 packet. This scenario does have the Killbox Artifice in effect and consists of a 12-inch zone, which can be controlled for 1 CP or dominated for 2 CPs. The friendly flag can be dominated for 1 CP, and the enemy flag can be controlled for 1 CP or dominated for 2 CPs. Victory conditions consist of 5 control points or caster assassination.
Howdy folks, Ford here. Today I'm playing General Ossrum. I've got him and Eiryss, Mage Hunter of Eiryss, doing some work on the Bunny Ranch. I've got 16 various gunners and blasters. I probably would have played all gunners except I only own 11. We'll see what happens here against the mighty Butcher of Khador.
Hey everybody, Taodark here. So this week I get to be put up against the Bunny Ranch, and I figured I'd throw Butcher down. He's the one I'm most comfortable with. I've never actually faced against the Bunny Ranch list. So I figured best to play a caster and a list that you're most familiar with. So this is my traditional 4-jack and sniper crew support Butcher3 list that I've played on the channel before. So for my deployment, I ended up winning the role to go first, and I wanted to make sure that I want to kind of set the precedence. With Pit, Butcher really likes to play central with the zone because he can kind of pull drag in, so just knee-jerk muscle reaction, I always go for first, centrally deployed so I can get around things, and then I'm going straight for that zone.
Well, my opponent chose to go first, so I put him on the side with all the obstacles and water and stuff, and I took the side with all the walls. Fairly sporting against the Butcher. Just gonna line up in a big line and shoot him out of the zone or push him out of the zone or whatever. Give him the first move.
So for my advanced deploy, there's nothing in his list that I really am super excited about putting my sniper crew. This is kind of one of those situations where I don't see any apt benefit or play for me, so I end up putting Eiryss on the right hand side. That way Eiryss and Kell Bailoch can kind of hide around the forest. Should he try and go after his flag for any sort of domination, I can put some threat on him there, and then the snipers and everything else just on the left hand side to stay out of the way.
My AD consists of Eiryss, Mage Hunter of Eiryss. She's going to get snipe, and her only job is going to be to shoot the focus off the Butcher when she gets a chance. I have trouble putting her where I want her because I want to be able to snipe her on the first turn. She has stealth, so I got to be within 5 inches of her to do so. That's pretty much why I bounced her around all over the place.
Khador turn 1. So as I mentioned, this is actually a scenario that Butcher really likes. The Pit kind of gives him a chance for him to basically kind of go towards the tail end of the zone, and with different things like vengeance or charging, the reach from his axe, being able to pull things in from impending doom, a lot of opportunities for him to basically threaten any caster who is trying to score, be it through the zone or through the flag, just by the distance that he can basically dole out. So I'm going to kind of push myself in. I'm going to use my Kodiak as a screen, Behemoth follows behind, and then Ruin's kind of a late game beater. And the dogs are just either there to, one of them usually stays back behind Butcher to make sure that he always has relentless charge, and the other one kind of just goes up into a zone because I put him into a zone, and if my opponent tries to kill the dog in order to set up any sort of scenarios or just for the sake of killing the dog, I get vengeance, and that kind of leads me towards a potential turn 2 or turn 3 assassination. Fort is not going to give me that opportunity. He's played against Butcher3 way too much, and he knows all too well that giving vengeance is a thing that you don't want to necessarily do for Butcher3. So I'm going to put a dog out there. I promise you he's not going to take the bait, but hey, you never know. So I advance up and I'm doing the little Kodiak screen. Energizer allows them to get a little bit of distance, and since they can cloud after they trample, because trample doesn't end their activation like a run or a failed charge might, between the 2-inch move and then their ability to trample up another 7 inches, I kind of get 9 inches to advance up. However, my positioning was off, and my Kodiaks are a little too far apart, so the cloud, there is a gap between the cloud. So not being a huge fan of it and recognizing that I need to kind of protect myself because there are a lot of guns across the table, I go ahead and run Behemoth up and just have him run between Butcher and the Kodiak and then stand in front of Butcher. And then, or I'm sorry, that was actually Ruin that ran up. And then Butcher kind of tramples up. I mean, ideally I could have tossed out some AoEs, but they're not going to really net me anything because he's going to be way too far away. So I just kind of dirtle up. I spend most of my time actually on my sniper core because, as I mentioned in the deployment, there's nothing about his list that I'm super excited about applying them to. Can they go through? Can Kell Bailoch to technically go through and put 6 damage per turn on a Jack and potentially shut down like a Cortex or something like that? Sure, yes he can, and of course I will. So I run him up and I put him in the forest, and then Eiryss kind of dirtles up behind. I don't want to necessarily put them too close together and provide a potential flaming opportunity, but I'm going to have them there to threaten that flag. Should he run his caster towards the flag, they're both there to either strip off Fury Focus or put just straight 6 points of damage into the caster. Again, Fort's not going to do this, but I have to make sure that I present the threat so that he doesn't take advantage of it. And then I'm not necessarily a huge fan of just running my my snipers up to get shot at, so I just kind of slowly advance them up.
Well, all of those snipers are in range of Eiryss with snipe up. I was out of threat range of anything of his, and I'm going to continue to do so on this turn. I'm going to let him have a few shots with Behemoth, I guess, but other than that, I'm going to stay out of his range with everything. So we're going to start off with Ossrum energizing. I've got that too. The whole line is in his 12-inch control, so they're all going to move forward. I didn't allocate the focus out. I just put it in a big stack behind my lines. Makes it easier. Every one of them has a focus. I'm thinking what I want to do is move up to just outside Butcher's threat range. All these little guys have sturdy, so he can't drag them. He can't push them towards him, so it really cuts down on his game. If he comes into the zone, I should be able to bulldoze my way to killing him, to at least exposing him to an assassination, and that's my plan. The walls are far enough towards my side of the zone that he's not going to be able to use them to keep me from pushing stuff around. Eiryss is going to go over here and shoot at Alten Ashley with snipe up. She hits him, but I decide to roll the damage, and she ends up only doing like 4 to him or 3 to him, just what she would have done normally. Does not kill him. It's enough to scare him away, though. My opponent runs him away here soon. The reason Eiryss is way over there mainly is because she's so far away that they're not going to be able to bypass her snipe. And I should be able to shoot a few of those dudes with my little guys if I chose to do so. And I'm not going to bother. They're all too far away. But I'm measuring the threat range to the Butcher right now. I'm just staying just out of that. Behemoth will be able to shoot stuff, but he shouldn't be able to see my caster if I keep these guys within an inch of my caster, and I don't think I measured it, so I think I screwed up there. I think that they're a little bit out. He has Bullet Dodger up on him, so he's not going to be that easy to hit, I guess. But Eiryss is out of range, likely range of a drift from Behemoth, which is all I really cared about. There's something in his list that can get to her right now. The spray guys are on the outsides. They're not going to do any damage to the Butcher. I'm going to use them to either bulldoze or to try to headbutt him or try to slam something into them to knock him down. His high defense and high armor makes it that I want to actually just not have to worry about hitting him by rolling, I have to roll like a 10 to hit him, I guess, if he's not knocked down with these guys. And 10 on 3 dice is a crapshoot. There we go. The Zulu Horns of the Bull formation.
Khador turn 2. So there is a giant wall of steel bunny rabbits coming towards me, and I'll honestly admit right now I don't know what I'm doing. Like, not even close. I have a kind of a routine pattern that I go with my Butcher3 list. One that's led me to several victories with it. And this wall of 15 light jacks, I honestly do not know what to do. I'm going to spend a lot of time in the tank, and it's not necessarily going to net me too terribly much. I'm not necessarily ready to commit. He has not advanced far enough forward for me to commit any major actions. So the first thing I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to kind of, you'll see me, I just measured there to see how much, if Mr. Ossrum was going to be within blast damage for Behemoth. He's not. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-measure out and basically kind of determine like where are my clouds going to go, what am I going to do, where can Butcher sit. I need to be in the zone because I'm not going to allow him to get scoring scenarios. If I were not to enter the zone, he would merely run that bunny line up to the point where they were basically all in a circle around the zone, and then Ossrum would run over to the edge and sit on his flag and maybe like run 1 or 2 bunnies to jam up Eiryss and the Kell Bailoch. He'll get 3 on his turn, and I will have any way of getting into the zone. Ossrum runs into the zone, he wins on 5. So I have to put something in the zone. And I got to put something of beef. I can't necessarily just run a sniper up, because again, it's going to be the same scenario. He'll kill the sniper, and then he'll control the zone. So I'm committed to putting my 2 Kodiaks into the zone and clouding up. Arguably, I may have put them a little too far into the zone. You'll see that, you know, they're kind of sitting in a position where they're probably about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in the zone. Ideally, I only needed to toe, but I also want to get Butcher into the zone because I want to have that threat. I want to have that option of being able to run, charge out, Energizer, Impending Doom, whatever I need to get Ossrum in range to kill him, because I don't think I'm going to be able to out-attrition this many jacks. They don't have a huge amount of hit points, but they're armor 18. Like, these little things are freaking armor 18. That's a lot of armor for me to chew through in a lot of boxes. This feels, I'll be 100% honest with you, it feels slightly tilting. This almost feels like the same scenario that a lot of people are experiencing when they're doing, when they're coming up against people with like Mad Dogs or something like that. It's like, how do I deal with this many boxes? How do I deal with all this? Now, I think Mad Dogs take it to a much higher extent because they're heavies, but how do you deal with this much? Like, say I even go through an opportunity where I'm going to fire off some shots from Behemoth and I get, 2 or 3 of them damaged or dead or something like that. So currently right now I've got 1 cloud out, Behemoth shooting before the second cloud goes up and I lose my line of sight. But I'm shooting at a pack of those 3. Even if somehow I manage to get super dice rolls and manage to spike out and kill 1, maybe 2, and damage another one, that's a drop in the bucket compared to this list. So that's kind of what I'm going for, is this turn, put some damage in, which I think I knock the Cortex out of the lead bunny. And then I do like 1 or 2 points because of that armor 18 on the blast damage of the others. So I don't necessarily get much in the way of work done. There's 1 bunny who's not going to get a focus, big whooping deal. But I turn around in advance. So ideally what I'm looking at is I'm going to set my screen. Butcher's going to run up. He's going to be surrounded by jacks. So it's a scenario of you're just going to have to, weather the jacks. I could theoretically lose both Kodiaks, but because they're in the cloud, they're going to gain concealment. And I know he's got the point blank, or not point blank, but the boosted range where basically he gets additional hit and damage. That my measly defense 12 Kodiaks isn't going to be much, but I'm hoping that a 12-20 with a lot of damage boxes theoretically could survive, and then I can have just kind of have the Tinker run up and fix what they can to make them operational again. I'm going through snipes, so up top I'm going to take Kell Bailoch and put 6 damage onto one of the bunnies up top there. Again, I'm not necessarily doing much in the way of the bucket, but there's so much on here, I have to do something. I have to whittle it around. So after this turn, he's probably going to take my 2 Kodiaks. I'm going to run through. I'll get some work done out of Butcher, get some work done out of Behemoth and Ruin, and then maybe move forward and go for an assassination on the top of 4 or something like that. At least that's the goal I'm going to push for right now, is that if I get Butcher in range, get some work done, hopefully kill 5 or 6 of the bunnies next turn, and then there'll be enough holes in the line that I can go after Ossrum in 4. I just gotta make sure I contest this scenario until then. And then just, again, snipers doing a little, plinks of points of damage here. They're not necessarily doing anything, but I don't want to have a scenario where next turn Ruin goes in and tries to kill a bunny and leaves on 1 hit point, and I really wish that I would have put that 1 hit point from a sniper damage on the turn prior. So I'm setting up for my turn 3. I'm going to have to weather the storm of this next scenario. I'm probably going to lose 2 jacks, but, it's play for the end game. Playing for the assassination is really the only option that's available to me. I'm not going to be able to win on scenario. There's too much to attrition through, and I am not necessarily going to win on clock. So see what happens in turn 3.
Well, the Butcher has helpfully walked into the bunny trap. Maybe. He's still pretty tough to deal with. So I'm going to allocate focus out to all my little dudes this time so I don't forget the one guy that has no Cortex. And my plan is going to be to engineer some way to knock the Butcher down, and then shoot him with Eiryss, and then everybody else is going to pump boosted shots into him until he's dead. To do this, I have to get him forward and through those clouds. Fortunately, Ossrum has a spell called Unstoppable Force that lets him do just that. So I cast Energizer, cast Unstoppable Force, and then Feet. For the Unstoppable Force to work, I have to get within all my models within my control area. If they go out of my control area, they lose the bulldoze. So I have to get Ossrum far enough forward that the back of the Butcher is inside my control area, so that when the guy runs around back there, the Butcher is still in my control area. So these walls are a little bit of an issue because I can't move over them, but I can get close enough to them that it doesn't matter. I've got I can run 16 inches because my feet gives these speed 5 models plus 3 speed, making them speed 8. Plus the Energizer lets them move 2 inches forward anyway. So the initial positioning is not that big of a deal. My army's so close that I have mobility to get just about anywhere I need. So what I have to do is I have to push these Kodiaks out of the way, push Butcher forward into a position where I can either slam one of my models over the top of him and knock him down, or headbutt him. And to do that, I have 16 models that can be expended to do these, minus the several that have to shoot him. I'm shooting at boosted PAL 12s for the most part, so it's not that sure of a thing because we're shooting at an armor 18 guy. So that's dice minus 6. I do 4 to 4.5 on average every shot, but he's defense 14, and with defense 14, I need 8s to hit him. Boosted 8s are not a sure thing, so I really want to knock him down. He doesn't have any other spell up on himself. He camped 6, so I really want to knock that 6 off, because that's 5 damage or 30 damage potentially that he could stop during this turn, and that would probably be enough to keep him alive. Maybe not. I mean, if I get enough shots into him, probably not, because on average I need to put 6 shots into him past his 6 focus. That means I got to hit him 12 times with these. I only have 11 PAL 12s. The rest are PAL 10s. So I really want to make them count. So to do that, I got to get Roost focus, and that is what Eiryss is here for. So we start off with the guy whose Cortex is shot off. He can move 8, so he gets to go pretty far. He moves up, pushes one of the guys out of the way, and since he has only a 1-inch melee range, I push him outside of being able to free strike whenever I move away from him. I push the other guy up into the swamp there. He only moves 1 inch when he gets pushed in the swamp instead of the 2, regardless of whether he had Pathfinder or not. But my no Cortex, which stops me from running, makes me get stuck right there next to him, so I run out of movement right there next to him, so it's going to be maybe a little bit of a problem, because I can't push him even further out of the way to get the Butcher through this big gap. So this other guy goes and pushes he runs and pushes the Kodiak completely out of the way. And now he goes around to the back side of Ruin and pushes Ruin out of the way. I push Ruin such that whenever Ruin finishes the push, Ruin's model has moved his front arc so that I'm not inside his front arc because of the angle that I pushed him at. And I'm going to try to do the same thing with Butcher. That way I avoid 2 free strikes from 2 fairly powerful models. So the Butcher gets pushed up a little bit. He just barely tippy touches the marsh at the very end of his move, but he didn't move a full 2 inches anyway. He bumps into his other Kodiak. So now this little guy's going to go in and just park himself and cause problems. He's armor 21 under the feet turn, so he's pretty hard to hit even with free strikes. I could have risked free strike or 2. They're not going to kill him, and they got to kill him to pretty much stop him once he starts moving. So now Butcher's in the first cloud, and I can see him with most of my army. Pretty much all my army could see him where he is, but he's in melee with one of my guys. That cranks his defense up to an 18, which is outside the realm of where I want to be shooting at with Rat 6s, even boosted. So I have to finagle some way to either get him out of melee, which is going to be hard to do, or to knock him down. These little guys only have one attack that's a melee attack, and it's a bash with their head. It's a POW like 6 or something. It's really bad. But they can headbutt. So this next guy, this is a spray guy. All the green guys are the spray guys. There's 4 of them on the table here. There are the blue guys, and the red guys are the gunners. So he's going to go in and take a free strike from the Butcher. And the Butcher to get around behind him. And the Butcher doesn't roll super good. He rolls, what, a 9? And rolls an 11 on 4 dice and ends up doing like 7 to me through the feet. I'm going to bounce into... I'm going to stay in the front arc, the front arc and 1-inch reach of Juggernaut and push the Butcher. Now, unfortunately, that means that I thought I was going to clear my base, but I can't. My little guy's base. But I get him out of the way... where I can get behind him with another guy, and this little guy moves up. And the Kodiak, he was out the Kodiak's back arc, so the Kodiak can't free strike, but he's in Butcher's back arc, so Butcher doesn't get a free strike. But the Juggernaut, or the Behemoth did, for some reason. Or maybe that was the Kodiak doing it, actually. I guess I wasn't in the Kodiak's back arc completely, but I don't care about this little guy. His mission is done. He wasn't going to attack anybody, he was pushing. I could try to knock the Butcher down right now by slamming my model that's next to him with that green model over at the very top, on the top of the Butcher, and knocking him down. But I want to get him a little bit further. I want to move him into the second cloud as well, so that he's easier to hit. I don't want to be shooting at a defense 14, 16, defense 20 guy because of the cloud. So I want to get him not fully into the 2 clouds. So this guy's going to go through the swamp and everything running, and push the Kodiak and the dog out of the way. The dog only goes an inch, but he only has a half-inch melee, so that's not a big deal. The Kodiak, however, I can't push the Kodiak more than an inch in this water, so he's going to get a free strike if I choose. But I'm just going to stay in his melee. I'm going to push the Butcher out of the way. Now he's completely in the other cloud, but we're going to give the Kodiak his free strike and move up next to the Butcher, following him like the faithful little bunny we are. He does a little bit of damage here and there to my guy, but doesn't knock anything out with the Kodiak, even though he rolled really well. So now I'm going to go up and headbutt the Butcher. And if the headbutt doesn't hit him, and it's not likely to, I mean, I'm a mat 5, I believe I am, and he's a defense 14, so I need 9s to hit him, I believe. So I'm not counting on hitting him with the headbutt. What I'm counting on doing is slamming my little guys into him with my other guys and knocking him down. And I should be able to do that fairly easily with defense 10 in the back, so makes us need a 5 to hit me, so that's not that hard to do. Says I now. Yeah, we're mat 5, defense 12, so defense 10 in the back. Oh, I want the spray guys to do these power attacks because they're 2 less POW whenever they shoot. There's POW 10s versus POW 12. So this guy goes up and tries to headbutt him. Needs a 9, rolls an 8, just a bit outside. Butcher probably headbutted him harder than he headbutted the Butcher anyway. I'm fairly certain the Butcher has a harder head than these guys. So now this little guy is going to go slam my guy into the Butcher and try to knock him down. They're sturdy, which means they can't be pushed, but a slam is not a push, it's a slam, I guess. So they can be slammed. So he misses with a 3. Uh-oh, probably spoke too soon. So I'm going to take one more little guy and go try to slam him. I really don't want Eiryss to try to shoot a defense 20 guy to knock his focus off of him. Starting to get a little scary here. If I miss another slam, I may not be able to get another model in there to slam him. Yeah, I can engineer slams. I don't really want to. So this little guy is going to go up and headbutt him, and if he doesn't knock him down, the guy behind him will slam him, and then we'll see what happens. He does connect with a 9. That does knock Butcher down. And he rolls boxcars for damage, so it's I don't know if Taodark's going to use focus to stop the damage. It's power 6, so it is some damage to him. I think it's about 6, maybe a 5. But he should have taken a little bit of damage there. Let's see, they are POW or strength 6s, so he should have taken 18. He should have taken, yeah, no damage. He's armor 18. So here we go. Eiryss shoots him and knocks his focus off. She's going to aim to shoot him even. Just why not? Snake Eyes is what it takes to hit anyway, so what the heck. So now all these guys are just going to sit still, aiming and boost to hit and boost damage. POW 12s, dice minus 6, so they should be able to crank him up pretty good. I rolled pretty bad on the first one, but the next one makes up for it and takes a big chunk out of him. And the next one hits him and takes a little chunk out of him. But he's starting to get weak. I still have a whole pile of shots left. And then the last one takes another smaller chunk out of him, but this one finishes him off with a big roll, 16. Good game. Bunny Ranch is crazy powerful. This version is just a silly version, but it's fun to play. The pushing is fun.
So for my afterthoughts, interesting scenario. I'm not a fan of playing against the bunny list. It's definitely something that I'm going to have to. I think it's one of those you have to kind of have a list to solve that list. I don't think Butcher3 is the answer, or at least not my Butcher3. I'm not necessarily sure if an infantry scenario would have been able to pull it off, just because the amount of shootings between the sprays and the shots and everything like that. I'm not sure an infantry list survives too terribly long. From a play standpoint, as I mentioned, I probably put the Kodiaks a little too far forward, and I might have gotten a little too aggressive. This is one of the things I've been picking up lately, is learning when you're the aggressor and when you're the defender. I think in this situation, even though I'm Khador and I'm Butcher3, I think he's the aggressor in this match, and I should have been playing the defender, not the aggressor as well. I put myself in harm's way by trying to be the wrong role. So, gonna have to see how this plays out. I'm gonna check in with some of the other guys to see how they're handling the bunny list. I know I checked in with Gaston, and he had a kind of a similar result when he played against it. So this is currently a list for our local meta to address, and maybe we'll have a solution and you'll see another match where I do pull a win out against the bunny list. Until then, have a good day.